The 2018 Audi S7 and RS7 are something of an irregularity in the car commercial center, a couple of elite 5-entryway hatchbacks with space for 5 travelers, and their apparatus. Its fundamental plan is starting to age, yet it's doing as such surprisingly nimbly, which is the reason we've evaluated this alluring twosome an incredibly high 8.4 out of 10. Read more about how we rate autos. For 2018, there's little change to note beside upgraded wheels on the two models and another game fumes for the RS7. The two models depend on the Audi A7, itself an alluring and diverse extravagance auto brought forth from the significantly more traditional A6 car. Be that as it may, where the A7 brags a 3.0-liter supercharged V6, the S7 utilizes a 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8 evaluated at 450 drive and 406 pound-feet of torque. The RS7 ups that to 560 horsepower and in addition 518 pounds-to-foot of torque in standard tune, or a bewildering 605 horsepower and 553 pounds-to-foot on the RS7 performance. In case you're flying for the RS7, you should go the distance, correct? In any case, the two models carry energy to each of the four corners by means of 8-speed programmed gearbox and have firm yet not buffing suspension settings. Their rich insides begin as the standard A7 yet contrast in some trim finishings and the plan and upholstery of their seats. The RS7, with a couple of alternatives, can turn out to be out and out pretentious. Be that as it may, so shop painstakingly. What separates these two from rivals like the Audi S6, the BMW M550i and M5, and the Mercedes-AMG E43 and E63 is their hatchback arrangement. A slanting roofline implies that they're somewhat tight in the backseat and not exactly as ample as, say, a station wagon. However, despite everything, they offer more utility in a sexier shape than you'll discover in a customary car. The two models come very much equipped with highlights yet offer significantly more tech for an additional cost. Yet the sky's extremely the cutoff on the RS7, which can be developed to more than $150,000 with each alternative box ticked. Both the 2018 Audi S7 and RS7 begin with a 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8, yet how they continue on ahead is the thing that separates them from each other. Be that as it may, there's something else entirely to Only Motors here, which is the reason we've granted much more focuses for the autos taking care of their ride qualities and their transmissions, which hoists them to a 9 out of 10. Read more about how we rate autos. The S7's 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8 is appraised at 450 strength and 406 pound-feet of torque, while the RS7 ups that to 560 horsepower in addition to 518 pounds-to-foot of torque in standard tune, or an amazing 605 horsepower and 553 pounds-to-foot on the range-topping RS7 performance. Indeed, even the S7 moves with expert and refinement, while the RS7 typically raises that feeling of energetic promptness from any speed. Decide on the RS7 performance and you'll be remunerated with rankling speeding up in a fumes roll pipe dream. The V8 is mated to an incredible 8-speed programmed transmission that consistently carries energy to every one of the four corners by means of Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive framework. However, icy atmosphere drivers ought to know that they'll have to choose winter tires for an any event part of the year in the event that they need to really drive any place. Yet we're so stricken with both that we've appointed them a 10 out of 10, our most noteworthy conceivable score. Read more about how we rate autos. Furthermore, it's anything but difficult to perceive any reason why. There's an effortlessness and tastefulness in their outlines ailing in rivals, notwithstanding when they're all dolled up with forceful body units. From the front, the S7 isn't entirely different than Audi's S6, which has a meaner nose than the fundamental A6. The distinction begins with its roofline that plunges all the more forcefully toward a stretched tail that decreases delicately into clean taillights. The RS7 doesn't vary drastically, yet its front and back belts are marginally more forceful and it has its own wheel plans. For 2018, a game fumes framework is standard on the RS7 and it incorporates huge quad tailpipes that very mean business. Inside, the two autos again begin with the A7's construct and heap in light of more extravagance and one-of-a-kind completions. We are not completely sold on the jewel design calfskin upholstery, yet it is in any event strong and imaginative. There's remarks said in regards to a top-of-the-line auto that permits an additional level of personalization. No, Audi won't upholster your new RS7 in the stowaway of a jeopardized species. However, they'll coordinate your poodle's most loved squeaky toy, at a cost, obviously. Given that ineptability. In addition to these top-of-the-line Auto's liberal standard hardware, their cutting-edge infotainment frameworks, their accessible Google Earth symbolism, and Audi's generally first-rate benefit, they're a simple 10 out of 10. Read more about how we rate Autos. The S7 comes in a Premium Plus and Prestige trim levels, while the RS7 is accessible as a standard or performance display. They're all around prepared from the get-go, however there's sufficient discretionary hardware to make each your own. Notwithstanding its all the more capable V8 and a more fastened-down suspension, the RS7 expands on the S7 with standard route and low-speed programmed crisis braking. All comes standard with Audi's MMI infotainment framework controlled to a limited extent by a touchpad that demonstrations pretty much like what you'll discover on a workstation phone. The framework may appear to be overwhelming in the first place, yet its horrid menus are sufficiently simple to deal with after some acclimation. Audi additionally fits as standard its Google Earth-based mapping framework, which conveys completely clear symbolism of where you are at the present time to the fly-up infotainment screen in the focal point of the dash.
Luxury, elite part, insofar as you're not in push 2. We've given them additional focuses for their exquisite materials, their comfortable front seats, the way they feel upscale inside and out, and their better than expected load utility. Be that as it may, a tight back seat dings a point, sending them down to a still respectable 8 out of 10. Read more about how we rate Autos. The fundamental A7's decency is in place here, with the exception of wrapped in more luxurious materials. The cowhide's a stage over, the wood trim is slightly all the more fascinating, and the completions take things to another level. Better supported front seats influence the most to out of each corner these two assault, yet you will need to be up there and not in push 2, where the inclining roofline limits access and headroom. On the other side, the S7 and RS7 are hatchbacks, which implies they can drag substantially bigger freight loads than generally vehicles. You're not going to fit extraordinary grandmother's steamer trunk back there, however you can fit a bike with its front wheel evacuated easily, something we can't say in regards to numerous vehicles.
Neither the 2018 Audi S7 nor the 2018 Audi RS7 have been crash-tried yet they come all around furnished with impact evasion tech. Given they haven't been smacked into a divider by either these or the NHTSA, we can't dole out them a score here. Be that as it may. Read more about how we rate Autos. All things considered, the two models originate from the production line with the imperative full supplement of airbags and security control frameworks, in addition to blind side screens and rear-view cameras. Given their out-of-this-world sticker prices, it's something of an unexpected that programmed crisis braking requires making good for an additional cost choice. Yet in any event, some ultra-cutting-edge hardware like night sea cameras are on the alternatives list. The 2018 Audi S7 wins 16 miles per gallon city, 24 interstate, 18 consolidated evaluations from the EPA. To be perfectly honest, those figures aren't awful at all for an elite auto, so the 6 out of 10 we've scored these two shouldn't be a noteworthy warning for generally purchasers. Read more about how we rate Autos. A begin-stop framework works reasonably unpretentiously to remove the motor at activity lights to diminish fuel utilization, yet it's significant that the EPA doesn't figure this its utilization test.